Good fortune, everybody. I'm coming at you from the Otter's doghouse. Yes, here I am in McAllen, Texas. And there you are, wherever you are. Glad to see you. Glad to know you're watching. This is so cool. Hey, I'm sporting my new shirt here. This is courtesy of my good friend Joe Quarteroni. If you know him, well, then there's no need to explain. So, how is everyone today? I hope you are all well. I hope you are all blessed. Thank God we still have life and a great country. Yes, we do. Let me get a little bit of housekeeping done here. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, I'm sure, Bitcoin yet again produced all-time highs this week. The current price for show today, $120,980, $120,000, 980. Yes. Silver, oh, it's looking good too. $38.37 for 1 ounce. Ladies and gentlemen, what a buy is silver right now. Gold, 3,300. So we're at 3,341 to be exact. That's a good buy too, but I personally, and remember, I am not a financial advisor. This is certain. Look at this. Hey, you gonna let this guy decide your finances? No, you won't. So gold is a good buy, but silver has a lot of room to make up for that ratio between gold to silver. Remember, the traditional, we're talking thousands of years, ratio of ounces. Ratio gold, silver, 15 to 16 ounces of silver will buy you an ounce of gold. Over thousands of years, averaged out, right? What are we at now, you say? Well, last time I checked, I think it was last week, 91 to 1. It'll take you 91 ounces of silver to buy your 1 ounce of gold. Now, doesn't take too much extrapolation to figure out, if I buy silver, when it goes up, it's really going to go up. Gold's going to go up, but silver's really going to go up. Now, let me check my chats here, see if anybody's in. Not yet. And I can go here to Facebook and see where we are at as far as our live broadcast. Yes. So as I am here in the Otter's Den, the doghouse, if you will, Sister Sue found that one out, that's what it's called. That's exactly what it's called. So, Jody, good to see you. Looks like you like my shirt that I am sporting. This is nice. I have to say, I mean, I'm not going to be humble about this. Whoever made this is cool. Let me sport this for you. Check this out. Look at this, huh? Look at that, ladies and gents. Look at that. Yes. So let me see if I can find the chat. Here we go. And we're in. I got it. So, Jody, I got 2 of yours. Okay, I'll work it out for you. I'll work it out. Tammy, good to see you. I'll work it out for you, Jody. Let me get with my my friend that worked it out for me, and we'll get your address and all that. And $23. Now, I don't know about shipping and all that because he didn't have to pay for that, but $23 for this beautiful, wonderful. Look at that, huh? Look at that. Yes. Now I'm waiting in for a special message here in a minute, and then we'll go on that. But as I was saying, silver, Pati, bueno, dígame por favor cuando anda mi suegro. I have a great message to send out today to my father-in-law, and I'm going to break out probably into Spanish for a little bit because, well, that's the language he speaks. So, again, we're going into the financial stuff. Average mortgage rate, you're going to pay 5.89%. Okay, if you want to buy a house or a property, the 15-year rate is a little better at 5.17%. I guess you could say it's easing down, but there's always going to be that battle between Trump and the world, and basically the central bankers. The criminal banking cartel is not going to give Donald Trump an inch. And I'll tell you what, if they go and do what they did under the previous communist regime, the auto pen, whatever you want to call it, if they, and we're going to touch on that auto pen, by the way, today, we're going to touch on that. We got some good stuff on that. So if they go back to that, normally in that world, they would lower these rates to make things easier for the American people. But their job is not to make things easier for the American people. Okay. All right. We got my suegro. Suegro. Feliz día, suegro. Muchas gracias por estar en donde estás con mi otra familia. Ahí están, con familia, mi familia. Gracias por ponerme en la posición de parte de la familia. Y un gran día para ti, suegro. Un gran día. Y espero que regresa o que agarra todas esas cosas, todo el amor que es para ti, suegro, para ti. Mereces. Muchas gracias por muchas cosas que me ha mostrado, desde parear, desde crecer limones en mi yarda, lo que sea, árboles, lo que sea, suegro. Te doy muchas gracias por todo que me ha mostrado y mucho amor, suegro, mucho amor. Gracias a Dios que estamos en esta vida para compartir el tiempo. Muchas gracias y un buen día, un gran día, suegro, para ti, con toda la familia en su alrededor. Gracias. Gracias a Dios y gracias a ti, suegro, que tiene un gran día. Okay, thank you very much, suegro, for listening. Thank you for being with us, and I really appreciate that ability to give a shout out to the man who shaped a lot of my adjustment here in Texas from the New York lifestyle. And I'll tell you what, he's a mechanic, he's a landscaper, he's all kinds of good stuff that you can learn from. Thank you, suegro. Much appreciated. So as we get into further in the show, we're going to go with the verse of the day, ladies and gents. The verse of the day. This is from John 17:18. As you sent me into the world, this is Jesus speaking. As you sent me into the world, I have sent them into the world. Ladies and gents, we are the them. We are in the world. This is not an easy world. This is not a nice world. This is, in fact, as God tells us in his word, an evil world. However, we are to be the salt in this world. We are to be the seasoning, if you will, that buffers the impact of this cruel world with the sometimes very sensitive souls of humans. That's us. We're supposed to help each other out. We're supposed to be a brotherhood, a sisterhood, if you will. And I'm just trying to do my part. And I thank you for listening as we do so. Now, I'm going to go into, like usual, we're going to go into the usual crypto stuff to talk about there, of course. And also, at one point or another, I'm going to get into what everybody's thinking about, which is the narrative surrounding. Hello, Eric. Man, this is great to see you, brother. I haven't seen you in decades, literally decades. I hope all is well with you and yours. God bless you, and be in on the conversation with whatever your opinion is, whether it agrees with mine or doesn't. It doesn't matter. We're here to talk and respect each other. Great to see you around, Eric. Thank you for showing up. So the antics of the Epstein narrative is another thing we're going to discuss. Depending on how the show flows, maybe I'll save that to the end, or if we're low on conversation, I'll throw it in there in the middle. It's going to get deep, so I think everybody's pretty much interested in that. What really happened there, how it happened, and who it involved, and that's just the beginning. 35 years, says Eric. Holy tamale! Wow, Barry, good to see you're with us today. I'm going to share a little bit of crypto news here from Cointelegraph. U.S. House passes 3 key crypto bills ahead of August recess. Now, the main one here was about, and it's got to go back to the Senate, right? So it's not the end all, the beat all, but it's a key passage, a key part, a key step of the process. So this is again from Cointelegraph. After delays in Congress over Republican concerns with central bank digital currencies, I'm not a Republican, but I'll tell you what, that's definitely a concern. The last thing in the world we want is central bank digital currencies. That is the mark of the beast, if you will. At least it comes close. The U.S. House of Representatives has passed 3 pieces of crypto legislation. In a Thursday House session, lawmakers voted 294 to 134. That's pretty good. To pass the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act, a bill aimed at establishing a market structure for cryptos. 308 to 122 in favor of the Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for Stablecoins. That's the Genius Act. Okay. 219 to 210 for the anti-CBD or CBDC, Surveillance State Act. Yes. So there are 210, I will call them communists. 210 communists want your money programmed. Now, if you're not well versed on this, a central bank digital currency will run on a blockchain. Okay. It will be programmed. It can also be programmed. Of course, it's centralized, the exact opposite of Bitcoin, which is decentralized. Now, this centralized central bank digital currency can be programmed not only for value, lack of value, but how it actually appears or disappears from your wallet. Yes, it can have, and it's already been discussed, a lifespan. What keeps a currency valuable? It's the movement of that currency, right? The liquidity and the movement of money. We've always heard about this stuff, right? From, politicians and economists. So how do you move that money? Well, you threaten people with a lifespan on their dollar, the digital dollar, the CBDC, whatever you want to call it, right? So if they call it 2 years, man, you got to spend that stuff because you ain't saving it. That's the last thing they want you to do is save money. The last thing they want you to do is have money. The last thing they want you to do is be prosperous because they're bankers. They hate you. Anyway, that's just the way things are. So 3 charts. This is again out of Cointelegraph. 3 charts that scream it's altcoin season. A brief disclaimer for those of you that don't know that, I'm not the genius in cryptocurrencies, but what I can tell you is that an altcoin is basically any other coin than Bitcoin. Okay, so right now you Bitcoin even a little bit, right? Even a little bit at a time. It doesn't matter. You don't have to buy with 120 grand that it's worth right now. Okay, it's worth a lot more than that, but it's valued priced at 120. You don't have to buy a whole one, right? Who can? So you buy a little bit here and there. Now, an altcoin, and there's an altcoin season that's coming up. So veteran trader Peter Brandt observed a similar setup on Total 2, with a combined market capitalization of all cryptocurrencies, excluding Bitcoin. Okay, so Bitcoin has like a dominance factor that they're always taking into account to figure out when this altcoin season is going to happen. Why is that valuable? Because you can buy altcoins, entire tokens, for less than 1 cent sometimes. Sometimes a few cents, sometimes $1, $2, or $5. Much more affordable and much more, how would you say, you can affect a much greater rate of return, okay, on your money. So with an altcoin, you can buy it for 10 cents, you buy 1,000 of them, and if they go up 1x, 2x, 3x, 4 times, something like that, you got yourself some profit there. That's why altcoins are so attractive. Now, the season is coming up, and here's why. I'm going to give you this info right here, again, from Cointelegraph. So the measured target of this pattern is 2.78 trillion, or a 97% in the total altcoin market cap. Now, it's not there, but this is, based on these guys, these geeks, these people, these chart readers. We'll look at certain charts and the patterns they're in, and then tell you, okay, if it hits this, the trend says it's going to hit that. Okay, so a break above the neckline at 1.1 trillion could push total 3. These are money movement numbers, jargon, up by about 100% to 1.98 trillion. Now, I'm going to give you a graphic on this. If you're watching this, please, if you're driving, don't look at the chart. You can get this later. Okay. So I believe this is going to be the one. So we're going to go to the Bitcoin dominance. If my cursor works, it should be on that right now. And if it doesn't, I'm just going to explain to you what you're looking at here. So Bitcoin dominance towards your left went up from February, okay, of 2025. And it got to a certain point and then it went down. If you'll remember, there was a time when we had a pump in the altcoins. We had a pump, and that's what that representation is of the Bitcoin dominance falling and then the altcoins going up. Or the Bitcoin dominance falling, and it doesn't have the altcoins, but there they are. Now, Bitcoin dominance regained. So what we're seeing now in that dip is the return of altcoins and the lessening, okay, of the Bitcoin dominance. So that's what you see there. Now, a break above that 1.1 trillion, and here's we're going to go into this chart here, and I want to show you what that looks like. So at about, I think it's going to be 1.1, like 110 trillion. We're going to see what we see, and this is called a cup and saucer pattern. So these are the altcoins, okay? And this is the market cap of all coins not named Bitcoin. When this thing goes up, ladies and gents, this is when those small coins that you have, those little ones. Jody says bull run will be in November and December. Lord willing, brother, Lord willing, and amen to that. I would love to see that. So that necessarily says today, tomorrow is your accumulation phase, your chance, your opportunity to get in the market. Please, I am not, once again, I'm not by any means a financial advisor. Do not let me, look at these goggles I got here. Do not let me tell you what to do with your finances. Please. Thank you. So these, again, there's these patterns, and I'm going to show you the third chart in a minute. But let me read the narrative to this story here. Fueling the altcoin rally is Ethereum, 24% performance over the last 7 days, suggesting capital rotation from Bitcoin as other cryptocurrencies play catch up. Here's what happens. So when Bitcoin goes up, people that have a large holding of Bitcoin sometimes sell and then go into other cryptos. They use the profit they've gained from their Bitcoin wins to an altcoin or altcoins, a bag of whatever, right? Whatever they decide to invest in. So, and I remember, Jody, one of your favorites is XCN, and that's on the move too. So let me give you a for instance, okay? So I'm going to go to a different screen. I don't think it'll affect our broadcast, but XCN, oh shoot, I don't have it on this particular one. So I go to the phone. Technology, ladies and gentlemen, technology is a wonderful thing. So we go to my watch list on CoinMarketCap on the app on my phone. You can do this too. And XCN 0.018. So, ladies and gents that are just being introduced to this whole crypto thing, it's less than 2 cents. And it's a coin. The X means that it is involved in transactional, just transactions. It's some sort of runway, some sort of railway for transactions, crypto transactions. Most X, like XRP, XLM, same thing, right? Maybe different areas of the world or different applications, but it's all about the transactions and the speed of it, right? So some are faster than others, some are cheaper than others. But XCN is less than 2 cents, guys. Sue, did you happen to forget to do something today? There's a hint, or your sister will take Adriana shopping. Oh boy. Oh man. Oh, I think I forget. That's my middle name. You kidding me? Yeah. And I was supposed to call you earlier, and I forgot. Go figure. Anyway, if you could hit me up on a text, I would really appreciate it. So here's what we're doing. We're doing this altcoin rally so that what we're seeing in Bitcoin, and exponentially, mind you, this will happen in those smaller coins. the reason, oh, here's Jody. I have a bunch of low market cap crypto that will boom. Have been doing heavy research and investing. Jody, I know you have. I would not doubt that you know more about this space than I do. If you don't mind, Jody, throw like 3 or 4 in there that you're interested in, and maybe others can dig into it. So just to give you a disclaimer, I, again, am not an expert. I believe Jody's been really doing deep dives on some of these, and if you would be kind enough to share a couple of them, hey, maybe we'll take a look at them. Again, Jody's recommendation is not the financial guru of the world. I'm sure he wouldn't claim to be that. But ladies and gentlemen, we're out for each other. We're looking out for the shareable economy, as it were. We want to help you out. Okay? I have on my website, Cryptocurrency Navigator. That's all I am. I can maybe point you in the direction. I'm not going to make financial decisions for you, but I'm telling you right now, this is not the future. This is the now. This is the now. Life-changing gains are happening now, and they will happen, hopefully, in this banana zone we're already into, but just at the beginning of. Again, that coin that Jody told me about, XCN, is at 0.018 cents. Okay? It's 1.8 cents. 1.8 cents, $0.018. Very cheap. I think you can afford it. You might need guidance on how to buy it and all that good stuff, but send me an email. Okay? You can send an email at bitcoinotter@secure.com, SEKUR, secure.com. Okay? Now, I can help you through all this. Again, I'm not going to make your decisions, but I can help you through on the decisions you've made. So these 6 months are going to be phenomenal for altcoins. Let me show you that last chart before we go here. Okay, this chart, let me see exactly what this is about. This is, let me see if I can remember, total 3 Bitcoin. So this is looking to be how the altcoins have done from December 2024. There was a huge decline, as you can see, all the way through July. And as you can see at the bottom, I'm not certain that my cursor is showing up on your view, but the breakout is happening now. So as the altcoins have fared not so good against the Bitcoin, it is beginning to happen that the altcoins are flipping the tables, as it were, and your cryptocurrency future is on the rise. Now, I always recommend, and again, this is just me. This is my perspective. I always recommend having Bitcoin. It is the OG. It is what is going to be used for collateral. It is a Class A asset now, right along with gold and real estate. Countries want it. Industry wants it. Corporations want it. You may want it. So, again, this segues right into Bitcoin-backed. This is, again, Cointelegraph. Bitcoin-backed mortgages debut in Australia amid housing crisis. Australia's block earner has launched a Bitcoin-backed mortgage as a new path to the property market, following a regulatory win that cleared the way for crypto-backed lending. As home prices in Australia continue to outpace incomes, as is the case here, right, in the United States, a company is rolling out a Bitcoin-backed mortgage, offering crypto holders a new way to access the property market, and this is key, listen to this, without selling their assets. Ladies and gentlemen, Rich Man, Poor Man. You might have heard of the book by Mr. Kiyosaki. Rich Man, Poor Man will tell you the difference between how a rich man thinks and a poor man. A rich man, poor dad, right? Rich dad, poor dad, right? So a rich man and a rich dad to him taught him one thing about finances, and his poor dad, it was his natural dad in this case, taught him the wage slave perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't want to sell our assets. Rich people don't do that. Rich people don't sell their assets. Rich people, okay? Rich people keep their assets and borrow off of them. That's what this whole thing is about, this crypto-backed, Bitcoin-backed mortgage. Okay, CoinMarketCap said this week that Bitcoin added another all-time high, and that all-time high, ladies and gents, was $123.91. $123,000 it was priced at, not valued. It's much more valuable. $123,091. So that is that. Now, this is from Zero Hedge. Biden admits he didn't sign pardons. You don't say. Well, gee, Joe, we thought you signed all those pardons. And no, we didn't. No, we didn't, Joe. We knew. He admits he didn't sign them, and emails show staff did it for him. In a softball interview with the New York Times, what other kind do they have for guys like Biden? In a softball interview that ran on Sunday, Biden revealed that his staff used an AutoPen device to replicate his signature on clemency documents due to the large volume. Yeah, Joe. Yeah. Simple things like letting murderers out of jail should be delegated. Yeah. No. Remember, there are still some people that believe you got in there honestly. We, of course, are not of those ilk, but some people still believe that they actually elected someone to make these decisions. Now, Eric, wow. Yeah, we're all there, brother. We're all there. And I'm glad to see you're still not a felon, drugs-free, and all that good stuff. Hey, Jody pops in with some suggestions. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to look into some of the stuff that I'm talking about, but Jody can, elaborate a lot more on some of these right here that he just threw up there. And I'll tell you what, I'll look into them, possibly for my own investment, and definitely so that I can give a little bit of background on it for next. Hey, Julian, how you doing? Good to see you here. We're talking a little bit about some other things in the chat. Jody, just above you, has given us some tips on things that he's been looking into and have good potential in this newly minted altcoin season, ladies and gents. Yay, regular people. Okay, so we're also talking about how Biden finally admits that I don't know which part of his personality did, but one of them did admit that he didn't sign those pardons. The one-term president's admission comes as the Trump-era White House, the DOJ, and Congress launched separate investigations into the legitimacy of the pardons. Some experts argue that it is illegitimate because they were never, the pardons were illegitimate. What about the whole presidency? Anyway, they were never physically signed by Biden. Of course they weren't. Only New York Times readers and news watchers, TV watchers, ever thought that was the case. So, Julian says we need to podcast together. Yes, let's get that together. If you'd like, if it's a different day than a Thursday, I can do it from the chair I'm sitting in right now with the great founding documents right behind me, and perhaps even with my MAGA shirt, depending on your audience. And check this out for those newcomers on the show. Look at that. Look at that. Huh? Look at that. This is what's going on. The Q-Man got this for me, Julian, if you're interested. Quarteroni set this whole deal up with a bunch of us. 23 bones. So this is interesting, ladies and gentlemen. I want to go into this. This is a very controversial thing. I am not afraid of controversy, and I will not disrespect you at all. I may disrespect your argument, okay? The realm of ideas is merciless. The realm of humans, we must have compassion, mercy, and respect for each other. I will not attack you personally. I will respect you and love you personally. However, the things that I say and the things that you say are up for debate. The value of you as a human is not up for debate. You are priceless because God has created you in his image. Let me get that out. Now, say what you will. So, secret meeting. No, I'm going to go back. Netanyahu regrets. This is from Zero Hedge. Netanyahu doesn't regret any of the deaths he's caused. I want you to know this. This is the truth. He regrets none of it. But they say that he claims to regret deadly attack on Gaza church after terse Trump call. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't think that it was planned to whack a church in Gaza, then you are simply drinking the Kool-Aid, okay? They want Gaza as a parking lot. They want Gaza as probably a resort of some form. They want to develop Gaza, okay? All of the Semitic people in Gaza are victims and are going to be whacked. Now, you want to say, yeah, but Otter, Hamas. Yes. That man Netanyahu, that guy, yeah, him who claims regret. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, we've been shadow banned before. I don't want the broadcast to get shut down. But that guy, that man, is criticized in his own country for funding Hamas. Just the way our government funds the Mujahideen, the Taliban, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. Create your own enemy, right? Great idea. It's been going on for thousands of years. The empire creates its own enemy. Then they get to pick where, when, and how it attacks. Okay? Simple. Very simple. Thank you, Barry. Thank you. Is it available in blue? Just kidding. Yes, thank you, Julian, for that little joke. Now, yes, Barry, the problem is some of us are glued to television. Not, the ones watching this program. I understand that. However, some of us TV watchers, Americans, maybe, Mexicans and Canadians, glued to the TV, right? There's only going to be lies from your television. Now, Thursday witnessed another Israeli strike on a church in Gaza, which killed 3 people and injured at least 6 others. Among the wounded was the parish priest. Hundreds of Palestinians were, remember, Palestinians are Semitic people, ladies and gentlemen. These are Semites. But if you criticize this genocide, you are called anti-Semitic. How is that? How is that? And they're going after Syria now. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Our patriots know exactly what's going on here, Barry. They know what's going on. I'm not saying it's all under the control. I won't go that far. I'm not one of those 100% control people. What I am is telling you that when Donald Trump went on his capitulation tour, he made all of these people capitulate to the fact that the patriots of America, mainly our military, have all the goods on those people. And we'll get into that in a minute when we talk with that Epstein, about that Epstein creep. So hundreds of Palestinians were sheltering at Holy Family Catholic Church in Gaza City when the church roof was hit around 10 a.m. Church officials described shrapnel and debris came down through the roof, went flying, killing and wounding Christians inside. This is the Otter. This is not the thing. Killing and wounding the Christians inside. This is me right here. As intended. As intended. You're a Christian. You think you're safe from this kind of aggression? You think you're safe from the Talmud? Ladies and gentlemen, the Talmud is only rivaled by the Quran in its exclusivity of faith. Don't for a minute be fooled. All right. Secret meeting opens document floodgates on Trump-Russia hoax. Sperry. The floodgates holding back long-buried classified documents exposing government efforts to claim Donald Trump conspired with Vlad Putin to manipulate the 2016 presidential election might finally be opening. Oh, praise be. May we see light upon these documents. So Sunday to discuss new information on Russiagate, which they will use to build a criminal conspiracy case against Obama and Biden administration's political appointees who allegedly weaponized the government against Trump. Allegedly. Playoffs. You kidding me? Allegedly? Come on. Weaponized against Trump, the government. 2 Trump administration officials told real clear investigations. So, here's a good one. So the Russiagate, let me not, blaze over that. Jody's got a comment here on Israel. Israel needs to be turned into a desert. They just bombed Syria the other day, trying to start new wars and bringing the USA into them. We are living in the United States of Israel. Yeah, circa Epstein. I understand, Jody. Here's the thing, though. Just like we Americans are not the shadow government, the 3-letter agencies, we are not them. The ones that have decimated third world countries around the world. The ones that have brought the forever wars to the whole Middle East. We're not those people. We Americans are not those people, yet they use this narrative to demonize us in the eyes of the average Middle Eastern people. Now, I think that what is going on, and we'll get into this in a second. We're going to get into this. We're at about the halfway point. Well, a little bit over it, but we're going to get into this, and we'll have a long frame discussion on this. But what I see as the result, what I hope for as the result, is that these people, these usual suspects, okay, as individuals, because the cabal, the Illuminati, the International Criminal Cartel, the Khazarian Mafia, whatever you want to call them, they are small in number compared to we the people. Quite literally, right? The whole Eyes Wide Shut club in the red robes and all that, that's a very small minority, small percentage of us, of the main population. So turning it into a parking lot, I think that's using the tactics that they would use against this Semitic people of Palestine. And we'll get into that a little bit. Hang on. So Trump ships 5 illegals. This is great, ladies and gentlemen, with violent crime records to a tiny African kingdom. Ladies and gentlemen, there's now a new third country rule, right? So if the country of origin won't accept them, we're still getting you out of here. Don't think you're going to stick around in America, kill Americans, rape our women, do whatever you want to do with our children. No, you're going to go someplace else where they don't treat you so well. You don't get a debit card. Your rent is not paid for by us. So, the 5 undesirables, now they're not as undesirable to Hillary Clinton as they are to you and me. To Hillary Clinton and et al., her ilk, we are the undesirables. We are the, what was that term she used? Deplorables. So these criminals, these killers, they're fine in her eyes. They're fine in the communist mindset because, well, they create voters and they create population, which remains their key metric that they can use against us because, well, think about it. If California loses, I mean, they're losing real Americans, by the hundreds of thousands, who knows? But the fact of the matter is they're bringing in the illegals in the millions so that their population won't go down because they're going to let them vote, right? They're going to give them Social Security so that you have to pay for them. And then they're going to keep their Congress seats. But if the real population, legal population was ever known, they would lose many, thus their power. Anyway, so these 5 undesirables who hail from Vietnam, Jamaica, and Cuba, Yemen, and Laos are now in a local jail in the landlocked kingdom of Eswatini, which was known as the Swaziland until 2018. About the size of Connecticut, the country is ruled by 57-year-old King Mswati III, who has absolute power to rule by edict and decree. Assistant Homeland Security Tricia McLaughlin, this is her quote. This flight took individuals so uniquely barbaric that their home countries refused to take them back. These depraved monsters have been terrorizing American communities, but thanks to President Trump and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, they're off American soil. Bada bing, bada boom, adios. You're gone. They're in jail now. And you know what? You think those people are going to tolerate murderers in their midst? You think those people are going to tolerate child abusers? You think they're going to tolerate the things that the communists here in the U.S. want to tolerate and want to harbor? The Maryland man. The Maryland man. Oh, boy. Anyway, let's see what we got here. Continuing on, we have the Gateway Pundit. Failing British PM Starmer and his Labour Party lower the voting age to 16 to try to perpetuate themselves in power. Communists are not relegated to just America, ladies and gentlemen. They're in China. They're everywhere. Okay? Also in, I guess you call it England. You could call it England. You might as well call it some sort of third world country now. But the communists in England are basically trying to solidify their power. So this is what they're going to do. They're going to try and get 16-year-olds that they've already indoctrinated in the school system. Let me read this Gateway Pundit piece. This move will probably ensure an avalanche of youth votes to the leftists thanks to the school system bias. Thank you. Somebody's honest about it. They're old enough to go out to work, says Stummer. They're old enough to pay taxes. And he told this to the news over there. People watch news there too. Ugh. If you pay in, you should have the opportunity to say what you want your money spent on, which is the way the government should go. Yeah, unless it's illegal aliens, right? Schmuck. This will still require parliamentary approval, but it is expected to pass due to Labor's large majority. Replace Labor with communist majority. Starmer's sinking popularity puts him in second place in the polls behind Nigel Farage's Reform UK party. So the people of the country, called Great Britain, England, the people, they don't want anything to do with this. They don't want the grooming gangs. They don't want all that, but the communists love this stuff. They really do. And guess what? They're in charge. I hope not, but it looks like, it doesn't look good for Europe. Okay. I have one more piece, but if we get time, I'll get into that. But I want to get into this Epstein narrative. I was illuminated, if you will, of some facts that I didn't know. And again, we could be shadow banned at any moment. They could cut the broadcast. I don't know, because we're going to go into this stuff. There are keywords, and this is why I definitely keep all of my broadcasts to friends only, because you have rats that want to come in, and then they report you because their feelings are hurt or whatever. So this Epstein thing, this disturbs all of us. If we're honest, right? It disturbs us all. And this is what I want to talk about. I want to use the rest of our time together to speak about things. This is an interactive thing, ladies and gents. You got an opinion, you got a take on something, please let me know. I'm going to share Jody's take. I hesitate to use the word theory because theory involves a lot of different things, and I don't want to put words in Jody's mouth. But he enlightened me on the fact that Pam Bondi. Here. Let me round out the scenario. There's a few possibilities in why. And I'm going to get specific to the documents thing, the list, right? The Epstein list, the infamous Epstein list. So what I was just enlightened on, and this is something I gained from comments Jody and I passed off. So Pam Bondi was involved in the original case. The original case brought against Epstein was done in Florida. I don't know. Maybe you do, Jody. I don't know the complete exposure that Bondi had to that case, her involvement in it. That I have no idea about. But it's possible, in the realm of possibilities, it is definitely possible that she's compromised because she was in the Florida legal system since Epstein's first arrest. They disappeared. She said they were on her desks. She made it seem like the release was imminent. Now, from a narrative perspective, a narrative deployment, we are in fifth generational warfare, everyone. We talked about this before. Narratives are king in fifth generational warfare. Back in World War II, you had naval maneuvers, you had air support, air superiority and all that. And that conventional warfare model had gone on for decades. And the usual suspects manipulated all that. What we have now is a much different battle space. It's one of ideas. It's an informational warfare battle space. And you and I are in on it. We are digital soldiers. So let us think about this. Now, if she was compromised, and we're just going to go with this big if she was, perhaps this was a test. The initial test where they put some documents on her desk. And if she released them, well, she passed the test. If she withheld them, there's got to be a reason for that. Somebody's still pulling their strings. That's one scenario, okay? The other one is it could have always been a head fake. What do I mean by that? Do you remember when they raided Trump's personal residence? They, meaning the communists, via the vector of FBI. They raided Mar-a-Lago. They raided a former president. You and I know that he was still in control at that time. But anyway, the news watchers believe that it was justifiable because Trump bad, Trump orange, Trump criminal, right? TDS. Now, that did a few things, right? It showed who they really are. It showed that precedence was set. So now the same thing could be done with the mansions of the Bidens, the Bushes, the Obamas. All that is on the table now, okay? They can be swatted, and with good reason. Now, if they did take documents that Trump either legally or surreptitiously exited from the White House, which he did legally, because remember, the president can always call something classified declassified in a moment's notice. Doesn't take anything but their voice. Anyway, if they took something from there, they destroyed it. And not only there, but why would the FBI, in all of their malfeasance, keep documents that, basically indicted them as being in all these shady activities? So it's quite possible that the documents don't exist at the FBI. Because, and let me go to this point, and I have these bulleted out here. This week, Trump told the media, don't think about Epstein, don't write about Epstein. Wow. What do you think is going to happen when Donald Trump, bad man orange, orange man bad, Trump bad, Trump, because Trump, but Trump. What do you think will happen if Donald Trump tells the media not to think or talk about Epstein? I think they're going to think and talk about Epstein nonstop. That's what I think. And they're going to throw in how Donald Trump is part of it. He's on the list. He's on the list. We know he's not, for many different reasons that I don't have to go into with you because you're not TV watchers. Now, one of the reasons this is so important is that it can be a trap. Meaning, you have communists, Democrats, whatever you want to call them, frothing at the mouth to get the Epstein list out. They are now saying that they know that there are documents. We know there's documents. They know there's documents. Everybody knows there's documents. Yet Donald Trump is saying, hey, they're gone. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Don't do anything about it. Jody says he better figure this Epstein thing before midterms. On a timeline from our level, Jody, I agree. I agree. I do agree with that. There are so many different aspects in this battle space that this one thing, and I think I could pretty much speak for the rest of us. This is a touchstone. This Epstein thing is a touchstone shared by many, not just us, free thinkers, truth seekers, what we have been maligned as conspiracy theorists. Okay? TV watchers have children. TV watchers love their children. TV watchers love children in general. This is a touchstone that we all have. This is the Epstein thing. We have the hand of truth seekers. We have the hand of TV watchers. We have the hands of the people in between. A mental touchstone. This is what ties us all together. Okay? A seminal idea, foundational idea, that the most innocent among us should be protected at all times. The most innocent among us should be shielded from the evils of the world for as long as we possibly can. And they should never, ever be subjected to abuse. And I'm not going to use the term because we know what Facebook is all about and who owns Facebook. I won't use the term, the graphic term. But children are to be protected from predators, not placed in their hands so that they can, the evildoer can be blackmailed? Not at all. So this is going to go into, and we don't have a lot of time left, but this is going to go into my take on this that is the strongest possibility. The patriots that recruited Donald Trump to be the tip of the spear, the face of the MAGA movement, those patriots who have all the receipts, we're talking about people in military intelligence, we're talking about people in the 3 letters. They have it all. Okay? Remember Space Force? Space Force wasn't about spaceships flying around galaxies and Alpha Reticula or whatever they call it. Space Force was about satellite superiority, gaining a control of communications and a surveillance monitoring of communications worldwide. Eric says, it is a distraction, smoke and mirrors. It could be. It could be, Eric. In the political sense, I think that's what you mean. It could be. Or do you mean the withholding of the documents or pretending that they don't exist? Maybe that's what you mean. I'm not sure, but there is a place, definitely, for that perspective. Now, what I'm getting at is this. The bad guys used Epstein Island. They used Diddy. They used Jimmy Savile, okay, in England. These are notorious evil people. Oh, I love you too, Zaya. Hi, Zaya. Hi, Johnny. Hello, Corinne. Shout out to you. The bad guys, evil ones, were using Diddy, Epstein, John of God, very, very close with Oprah Winfrey. Very, very close. Don't ever forget that. John of God abused many. Oprah facilitated that. And Jimmy Savile. Generations he went through. Oh, man, it was nasty. So these type of operations were blackmail operations. They were factories. Epstein Island was a factory for blackmail. Diddy freak-off parties are a factory for blackmail, but for different clientele, right? So ultimately, the few that are pulling the puppet strings, they were gathering all of this. But so were the Patriots. So did the Space Force before it was even named Space Force, okay? So all of that nastiness is now in the hands of the White Hats, the Patriots, the counterinsurgency. We were nearly taken over, ladies and gents. We did have an election overthrown, but we were nearly taken over. Anyway, what I propose is that the good guys are using, and this is not my idea purely. I've gathered these ideas from different sources. And if you look in my my Facebook feed, you're going to see the one with the guy with the mask on from, what was that movie? V for Vendetta. You'll see that Guy Fawkes mask, right? So he has a great, great take, whoever created that AI imagery. So what I'm saying is this, that the good guys are now leveraging that information, that nastiness, to corner the bad guys and control their behavior and their actions. Jody says, the Clinton Foundation in Haiti also. Yes. Yes. Let's not forget about those lost kids. These people need to be, yes, I see what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. And I think it's going to happen. It won't happen in the way I think most of us think it will happen, but I think it either already has happened or it is on the way via military tribunal. Why? Because these crimes against humanity are also crimes against the United States. And we came so close to being completely usurped. We, the people, did. Completely usurped. That at one point or another, the three branches of government were ineffective and they were basically compromised. Judicial, presidential, executive, okay, and the legislative. So they were rendered ineffective, unable to govern, as we the people elected people into those branches. Now, yes, judiciary is much more appointed than it is elected. However, our elected representatives weigh in on it in its purest sense, right? Now, it was so compromised. This system was so riddled with communists. Just ask, if you could, the late, great Senator Joseph McCarthy. Oh, I'm telling you, ladies and gents, a resurgence, a revised edition of history will tell you, if you do so dig into the history of it, that Joseph McCarthy was right. He was right. Our government is and was riddled with communism. Communists. Anyway, the theory is this. My perspective is this, that this now is going to be weaponized. This information will be weaponized for use of the evil cartel that created the circumstances under which this information was gathered, this video evidence, all the nastiness that these horrible people committed, right? All that information is now going to be and is being leveraged to force the evil ones into a compromising position, one that will in time draw all of us together to this touchstone of information, this touchstone of a scandal, i.e. the Epstein case. So as this drama unfolds, as this narrative deployment travels through the battle space that you and I are engaged in, as this does so, we will need to put our critical thinking caps on, give and take info, share what we find out, and try to come to a consensus on what exactly is going on. We may not die at our level. I mean, who am I? Everything I share on this show, of course, is open source information. I have no access to the craziness that must be the patriots fighting in this war. At their level, right? At our level, we're fighting. We're patriots, right? Make America great again, right? We're patriots. We're fighting in the digital sense, nonviolent as of yet. You come at my family, you come at my home, then, it's a different story altogether. But in the digital battlefield, war space, battle space, whatever you want to call it, ideas are the only things being shot down. Now, I appreciate, we've gone over a little bit, I appreciate your attention to these matters. I appreciate the fact that you've been active. Heck, Eric, I got to talk to you. It's been 35 years, man. Wow. It's just so overwhelming, the amount of information out there. But don't be overwhelmed. Don't be discouraged. Be courageous. Just like the Bible says, be courageous. God is with us. If we truly are on the right side, if we truly are on the side of good, we can do so with confidence. We can proceed with confidence, knowing that we're on the right side. And I find it impossible, from a biblical viewpoint, that standing up for children, defending the rights of children, finding who the abusers of children are, is the bad side. No, not at all. So, as a parting thought, how is it that you keep your head above water in all this chaos? Because I tell you how I do it. Faith in God. Faith in God, and knowing that He wins the war in the end. And if we stick by Him, because He'll never leave us, if we stick by Him, we'll win too. And He'll share in the spoils, which is prosperity, everlasting joy, peace and harmony, and many other things. Ladies and gentlemen, I will be leaving you now, not forever. You can also always contact me on Facebook or Bitcoin Otter at secure.com. I think the Bitcoin otter.media@gmail.com is still alive. I had it on another phone. I got to look into that. But ladies and gents, I love you. I care about you. I care about your families. I care about bringing we the people back into power. Yes, power to the people, right? Thank you for watching. Thank you for contributing. And have a great week. Until next time. Love you guys. Bitcoin Otter out.